Τώρα, να γυρίσουμε σελίδα και να πάμε στα ευρωπαϊκά ζητήματα και στη σχέση του Κύπριου πολίτη, του Ευρωπαίου πολίτη, με την ίδια την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση. Ο Διευθυντής Επικοινωνίας του Ευρωκοινοβουλίου μίλησε στην κάμερα του Μεσημέρι και Κάτι και την Άννα Μαρία Ευτυχίου. Η συνέντευξη πραγματοποιήθηκε στο πλαίσιο του έργου EP Your Voice Counts, η φωνή σου μετράει δηλαδή, το οποίο συγχρηματοδοτείται από την Ευρωπαϊκή Ένωση. Είπε πολύ ενδιαφέροντα πράγματα. Πάμε να ακούσουμε τι είπε.
Κύριε Κλάρκ, είστε ο Διευθυντής της Γενικής Διεύθυνσης Επικοινωνίας του Ευρωπαϊκού Κοινοβουλίου. Κάντε μας μια σύντομη αναφορά για το έργο σας.
My specific job is to oversee the work of the office that the European Parliament has in every member state of the European Union. So in every capital we have an office, and that office has a dual role. It is there to communicate with people locally, and it is also to listen to people locally, and thereby provide a channel between a country, a member state, and the European Parliament as an institution. And it's basically our eyes and ears, and in some sense our voice as a European Parliament on the ground, where people live in their own environments, not in the Brussels central bubble, as we sometimes call it.
Αυτή την περίοδο πραγματοποιείται η διάσκεψη για το μέλλον της Ευρώπης. Τι διαφορετικό συμβαίνει αυτή τη φορά σε σχέση με τις προηγούμενες διασκέψεις και πώς ενθαρρύνεται τους πολίτες να συμμετέχουν και να διατυπώσουν τις απόψεις τους στην πλατφόρμα της διάσκεψης.
I think after the last elections there was a feeling amongst the political leaders of the institutions that we needed to take some time to listen to what people want from Europe, and that's why the conference was created. And the difference this time is that it's a bottom-up process, that it's all about listening to people who live in the real world. The platform itself, you need to go there, it's a website. We are making a lot of effort to help people find it. So, you know, you'll see, Facebook posts, you'll see banners, you'll see all kinds of social media activity and activities such as this, encouraging people to go to the platform, to register themselves, and then they're in, everyone has the right to say what they think and say what they think about other people's ideas. So that's the platform. It's not the only system. We can also, we organise here in Nicosia, we organise events, we organise other mechanisms whereby people can talk to members of the conference. So we have MEPs, members of the European Parliament, who are part of the conference. There are 2 from Cyprus, and these members are accessible. We make them accessible. They make themselves accessible to talk to people, and we're doing lots of events. We get is a representative view of what people want and expect of the European Union. Then, of course, the process which is ongoing at the moment, whereby people can express themselves in many ways, including in citizens' panels, which are live events. There's one happened just this last weekend in Strasbourg, and there are more to come. That will filter into a political process in the conference itself, and possibly also beyond, of reform and trying to apply some of these ideas to how the European Union functions in the future.
Ποιες είναι οι προτεραιότητες του Ευρωπαϊκού Κοινοβουλίου για το 2021-2022?
Are things like climate change, so the Green Deal, and all the legislation that goes with that. That's one example. Also, digital economy, obviously the importance of Europe remaining competitive and effective in the area of the digital economy and research in that whole area, including in more specialised areas of science such as artificial intelligence. So there's a lot of work going on in Parliament to find the legal framework within which Europe can operate in the future in these new areas. Of course, over the summer we saw also the events in Afghanistan, and I think that's concentrating people's minds on geopolitics and how Europe's place in the world and how Europe interacts with the great powers of the world, with the US and with China, and also on a more regional level with our neighbours in the European Union, obviously Russia, Turkey, North Africa. These are all areas which are of great interest, of course, to the European Union, and therefore also to the European Parliament.
Πώς επηρεάζει το Ευρωπαϊκό Κοινοβούλιο την καθημερινότητα και την ποιότητα ζωής των πολιτών.
Europe is more directly involved in people's lives in a way that's very easily perceived by them. For example, in the COVID crisis, Europe was called upon to act in order to protect Europeans, and it was necessary to do that at the level of the continent as a whole. There was a difficult moment at the beginning. I think everyone understands that it was unexpected, it was new, it was something we hadn't confronted before, and there was a little hesitation, a little confusion perhaps at the beginning. Of course, after the vaccination program came something else which is very important, and that's the COVID digital certificate. I think you call it the Safe Pass in Cyprus. I mean, again, this is a European thing, and it's allowed Europeans, myself included, actually to come here to travel and to get around. And obviously, if you're from Cyprus, to get anywhere, you have to take a plane. And I think therefore the certificate has been a very useful and practical thing that comes from Europe and helps people go about their business. The other thing that happened in the course of the COVID pandemic, of course, was the economic effects and the reaction to that. And it's in great part been thanks to the European Parliament that we have this extraordinary new investment in the Recovery and Resilience Fund, which is huge, while at the same time also addressing policy priorities such as the Green Deal.
Ποια είναι η εκτίμησή σας για τους χειρισμούς του Κοινοβουλίου στα θέματα κρίσεων, όπως η πανδημία που διανύουμε? Αναφερθήκατε λίγο και προηγουμένως στον εμβολιασμό. Πέστε μας λίγο περισσότερα για αυτούς τους χειρισμούς σε γενικότερα θέματα κρίσεων.
A few years ago, and this was something which was very deeply felt in Cyprus, I believe, was the financial crisis, where, again, it wasn't Parliament which was directly responsible, as it were, for the immediate action that was taken, but it was Parliament that was overseeing, watching, supervising, and mitigating the measures that were taken where necessary through, again, the representatives that it has. So Parliament deals with these things as they come along as best it can in the framework of what it's there to do. Then we have I've also mentioned Afghanistan, but there are foreign affairs crises, and these are something where Parliament, it doesn't control events directly on the ground, but it can always express the citizens' view of what needs to be done.